All right, so now that we have our drawings completed, the next and final step is going to be to print. Now, before we even get started with printing, I highly recommend that you save your file before we go through this process. For some reason, printing can sometimes crash the computer. It freezes it. I'm not sure why it does. It's happened to me so many times with different computers, and it's happened to so many students. It's just, you should get into the habit that before you print, save your work. The last thing you want is to go through the process of creating the drawings and then going to print and then losing everything because the computer crashed and now you have to start over. So, easiest thing to do, hit the save button. Now to print, there's multiple ways of accessing the print. You could click on the icon here. We could go up to File and Print, right? We could use the shortcut key that we see here. So I'm on a PC, so it's Control P, or you could hit Command P if you're on a Mac. Okay, so I'll hit Control P. And then we're going to go down through the settings, kind of from starting at the top, moving down. Now, the first thing is going to be to select your printer. I'm printing to a PDF, okay, to an Adobe PDF. There are multiple PDF creators out there. Bullzip PDF is a free PDF software, but there are multiple ones out there. But I want to take a minute. I'm going to kind of go off on a little tangent and explain what is a PDF and why is this important? Why can't we just, if we have a physical printer or if we're in a computer lab that has a printer, why can't we just print directly to a physical printer? Why do we need to print to a PDF? And the reasoning for that is, let's say we have a physical Canon printer, right? And it's set up for our computer. And if we click on the pull down, we might actually see it in here, right? However, physical printers are coded to speak a certain language. And they try to be universal, but Rhino and a lot of a lot of the softwares in the design field are not common softwares for everyone, right? And so your physical printer is not going to be set up to understand the coding. It can get by, and yes, you could probably do it. Not you will be able to do it. However, things like line weights, colors, um, especially if you start getting to renders, they just don't print correctly, right? When you go directly from a software to a physical printer. However, a PDF is a digital print, okay? And all of these softwares are set up to print digitally to a PDF, whether it's Adobe PDF or, like I said, any of the other PDF makers. And so then the PDF begins to act like the middleman. You can print to a PDF and then from the PDF to the physical printer. Because you're printing to a PDF, Rhino understands the language and understands the coding to a PDF and will export the correct line weights, the correct colors. It's not going to pixelate anything. So you're going to run into less errors if you print to a PDF first and then from the PDF to the physical printer. Okay. So again, download Adobe PDF, Bullzip PDF, some sort of PDF printer. Do not use the Microsoft Print to PDF. Okay. This is Microsoft created this a few years ago, and it's still really finicky. You can't even create paper sizes with it. So if you have Microsoft Print to PDF, that is not a reliable PDF software to use. Okay, so I'm selecting Adobe PDF. Then it's going to be the paper size. So I'll go ahead and click down here and I will scroll up until I find the letter size, which is an 8.5 by 11. We're going to go with landscape. Okay, so if you want portrait, right, the paper size, you're essentially rotating the orientation. We're only doing one copy. And then we have output type, and we have vector and raster. So a vector means that it's a line that is not made out of pixels, okay? Meaning I can zoom into the line and it'll never get pixelated. A raster output means that it's made out of pixels, okay? So it's going to output the print in pixels. This is ideal if we were to do a render, okay? For pictures, for images, a raster output is ideal. For line weights, then you want a vector output. Now, both outputs can print lines and pictures. It's just that the quality of the output is going to differ. It's going to put more of an emphasis on either the vector or the raster. Okay. So if we were to do a render, then I would have done the raster output, but these are line weights, so I'm going to select vector output. And then output color, I'm just going to leave it as black and white because I want to make sure everything gets printed black and white. But if you wanted color, we can click on color as well, right? Now, it's still going to print, it should still print black and white because our settings over here, I'm not sure if it's going to let me know. Our settings over here, if we were to scroll over to the right on our layers, it would show what color it's actually going to print, right? And by default, all layers are set to print in black. So unless we change that and it will actually specify that we want it in color, then that's when we would go ahead and click on print color. Okay. I'm going to scroll down. Now the next thing is going to be the view and output scale. Okay. Now we can do a top view, we could do a window extent, but I almost always come down to click on window and then click on set. And what this is going to do, it's going to allow me to draw a cross window over the object I want to draw, over the object I want to print. So I'll click on set. And I'm going to start off with my elevation. So I'm going to zoom into my elevation and I'm just going to left click and drag the cursor and then click again, right? Now, this is not going to, we're not setting a scale yet. Right now, all I'm doing is saying, I want you to print what's in this area. I also try to get the window as close and as tight to the drawing in case I have to make some adjustments because because it might not fit on the paper size. So let's go ahead and just click right there and I'll hit enter. And there we have our print. Okay. Now this is just, because of that cross window, it's printing what was in that window. However, we haven't set the scale yet. So I'm going to click down here in this pull down. And all of these 1:1, 1:2, 1:4, these are engineer scales. But if we scroll all the way down, we start to get into the architectural scales, which are the, 1/64 equals 1 foot. So I'm going to click on 1/8 inch. Actually, that's a little bit too much. Too small. Let's go 3/16. So that's bigger. Okay. Now the reason why I'm gonna pause this, so we're gonna get out of the print, but I did all this because I want to figure out what the scale is going to be on here, right? So now I know that on a letter size sheet, I can fit a 3/16 inch scale. If I click on a 1/4 inch, yeah, see, it's not going to fit on the 8.5 by 11. So I know that this drawing will fit at a 3/16 inch scale on an 8.5 by 11 sheet. Okay. Now, essentially, that's pretty much all we really need to know. We can sometimes go into line types, line weights, margins, play around with these settings if you really want to get technical with it, but this is really all we need. Now, I'm not actually going to print. Right now, I've just kind of created the print settings. What I'm going to do is hit close because I'm missing one thing. I want to be able to type the drawing title right at the bottom of the bottom right corner of the drawing. I went through these printing steps first though, because I wanted to know what the scale is going to be on this drawing. Okay, so I'm going to hit close. And then I'm going to go ahead and I want to write elevation and then the scale. Now there's two ways that we could go about doing this. There's really only one. And the common thing, we all see the T here, so that implies a text. So I'm going to click here and I could go ahead and type in, let's go capitals, elevation, right? This is the height in feet. So right now, if I hit enter, this is going to, the text elevation is going to come out to be 18 feet. That's way too big. So I'm just going to hit 1 foot. Okay. And then you could select, do you just want the curves? Do you want the surface or do you want it to be solid? Okay, I'm not doing either one. I mean, I'll leave it as surface, but this text object command really is not the way we're going to be using the text, so it's kind of irrelevant. I'll hit OK, and there's the text. Okay, now if this is all you really want, and if it's a quick text, then it's fine to go ahead and use the text object command. The problem with this text object command is I can't edit it. So it cannot be edited. So once you've placed it, we can make any changes to it. And so if we misspelled something, then we have to delete it, select it, delete it, and start over, which might not sound like the end of the world or the hardest thing to do. But the other problem too is when it comes to printing, it prints this as with the actual line weights with the solid on the inside, and they tend not to be the same. So even when it prints, it doesn't print out clean. So instead, what we use is just the text command. Ironically, for some reason, there is no command object for the text. There's one for text object, right? That's what we see, text object. But what I want is just text. Okay, so you see we have two commands, text object and text, and we want to use text. It's very, very similar. I'm going to go ahead and type in elevation. Okay. If you know this, I believe this is our north elevation. Um, you know what, before I say that, let me go ahead. Yes, this is our south elevation. Um, remember, north, east, south, west. It's as if you're standing in the center of the building, looking up, then that means that this is your north elevation. And if this is your north elevation, this is your east, this is your south, and this is your west elevation. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and type text. Let's call this south elevation. Let's correct that S. And model space scale is just 1, or sorry, the height right here, feet, is 1. And I'm just going to hit OK. And there we go. Now you'll see the difference that this just came out as a solid black text box, right? Then if I made a mistake, sorry, all I have to do is select it and double click on it. And then if I want to go ahead and change the text, I can go ahead and do that and I'll hit OK. All right. So I'm going to do the same thing again, text. And this time I'm going to go with scale. I'm going to write the scale, and the scale in this portion of the font is not in capital letters. It's always in lowercase. So it's scale, and now we know the scale because we went through the print steps. 3/16 inch equals 1 foot. I'll hit OK. Oops. And there we have it. However, the scale needs to be, this font size needs to be half of the size of our header size, of our head text here. That's the standard practice. Okay, so if this is 1 foot, then that means this needs to be 6 inches. So I'm going to double click. I'm going to change the height to 0.5 feet, and we'll hit OK. And then lastly, all we need to do is draw a line in between. This up just a little bit. And I'm going to change this line to a thick line. And there we have it. Okay. Now you'll also notice that I put my text on the bottom right corner of my drawing. That is standard practice. Okay. Your drawing text should always be on the bottom right corner. It doesn't matter which drawing it is, whether it's small details or sections, floor plans, all drawing titles go on the bottom right corner. Okay. The reason for that is that eventually this drawing is going to go on a construction set. And that construction set looks something, will be printed on a sheet of paper, something like this, right? And we'll have a title bar on one side. All construction sets are stapled on the left side, okay, of the sheet. So every construction set is always going to be kind of either stapled or taped um, on the left side. So then when we flip this and we're going through the construction drawings, it's going to be very easy to see the drawing if we put it on the drawing or if we put the text on the bottom right corner of the drawing. We could flip through the pages really quickly and we're just reading each drawing title when it's on the bottom right. Okay, so that's why every drawing needs to be on the bottom right corner. All right, so now we are ready to print. Go to our print settings. Our print settings, because we hit close, saved from the last time, but we'll just go ahead and double check the scale. Okay, everything looks correct. And now all we do is hit print. So I'm going to hit print. I'm going to specify where to save this, elevation, and then I'll go ahead and save it. And it's that simple. Hopefully my computer doesn't crash now. There, okay. So now it's printed. Um, I'm not sure if you guys saw that. It should pop up as a PDF, but once it's done, you can go ahead and locate it, right, wherever you saved it. Once that's done, we could go ahead and move on to the next drawing. Now it's going to be the same process, okay? I'm going to go ahead and actually start off by selecting this and copying it. Okay, again, bottom right. And this time I'm going to change this and call this first floor plan. And I'm going to leave the scale because I'm going to see if I could use the same scale. So I'll go ahead and hit print. Now you'll notice that it saved the same settings, right? But I don't want to print the elevation. I now want to print the floor plan. So over here where we went to change or create the window, I'm going to hit set. Now this window is already set as an 8.5 by 11. I could do the cross window again and go through the same steps as the previous setup. But since this is already set up, I could actually just type in move and just click and move the page to where it needs to go. Something like that. Once I'm done, I'll hit enter. And now you'll see that my preview button has updated. Once that's set, just make sure the scale hasn't changed and we're good to go. We'll go ahead and hit print and we can go ahead and print the floor plan. Okay, but I'm going to stop at this point because it's all repetitive at this point. We will go ahead and do the same thing, copy, move this over for the section, and print out the section. Okay, and though that's the steps to print. Hopefully that helps. Good luck, everyone.